What is up, everybody? I hope you are having a fantastic day, getting ready for these playoff games. I had a little back and forth on Twitter with Richard Sherman. It was short lived, but I do think it was telling. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So last night, Richard Sherman tweets out about Jaden Daniels, much like most of the world was. Man, that kid played really, really good football last night. Richard says, everyone who believes they have an elite quarterback, please watch Jaden Daniels. Without the excuses, you see him elevating his team. Washington's defense played inspired football in support. Detroit is built the right way, and I think they will make this a game before it's all said and done. But he's showing what a QB can do to elevate his team under the brightest lights. Now, Richard Sherman used two E words here. Both of them he purposefully put in all capital letters. He used elite and elevate, which brought this response from me. I said, check out the sponsor of today's video, Underdog. Link is in the description. Promo code LSS. That'll get you a deposit match, 50% up to $1,000 plus one free play. Underdog has so many options to have fun, put a little skin in the game. You can do more or lesses. You can do weekly fantasy. You can do daily fantasy, yearly fantasy, and multiple sports to choose from. Basketball, football, baseball, MMA. The list goes on and on. Have a little bit of fun with Underdog. They've been a great sponsor all year long. Thank you so much, Underdog. Appreciate you. Links in the description. Check them out. Do you think Purdy is that guy? Now, anybody who watches Richard Sherman, by the way, he does his show. And when he talks about the 49ers, he wears a 49ers hat. And when he talks about the Seahawks, he takes the 49ers hat off and he puts on the Seahawks hat because he played for both teams. So I said, do you think Purdy is that guy? No homer take. Put your Seahawks hat on and answer this one. To which he responded, yes, executing in the playoffs matters, and he has shown he can. Now, on the surface, this looks like, hey, he fully believes in Brock Purdy. And I'm not saying he doesn't, by the way. But what I'm saying is that he used a lot of word salad here and did not at all answer my question. Let's go back to his original tweet. He used two E words, elite and elevate. In his response to me, he used an E word as well, but it wasn't elite or elevate. It was executing or execution. Yes, we know Brock Purdy executes, but you said elite and elevate. My question was not, can Brock Purdy play well in the playoffs? My question was not, can Brock Purdy, when things around him are going well, can he execute and help that team? That was not the question. The question was, is he elite? Does he elevate? And Richard Sherman didn't ask that question. Now, I did respond to Richard. I don't have that tweet here, but I said, I agree. He can execute, but so can many other quarterbacks in the playoffs. I'm more talking about the elevating part of your tweet. And he never responded. I get it. He's busy, but pay attention to how people speak. Even the biggest supporters of players, when they speak on those players, pay close attention. Richard knows exactly what he's doing here. First of all, I wouldn't expect Richard to, even if he didn't think Brock was the guy. Again, I'm not saying he doesn't. He may. But even if he didn't think Brock was the guy, he has teammates on the 49ers. Still, ex-teammates. And Shanahan was his ex-coach. There is zero chance that Richard Sherman would come out and say, no, Brock's not the guy. If the team believes he's that guy, he's not going to be the one. He's not going to break that trust. So I wouldn't expect him to say anything different. I would actually rather that he just didn't respond. But what I don't like is when somebody who very, very smart, Richard Sherman is very smart, uses what I call in the real world the leadership circle. Anybody who has a boss or has leaders within the company they work, if you ask a leader a very direct question and they don't want to answer it, they'll talk and talk and talk in circles around it, but they never actually answer the question, but it sounds really, really good. That's what Richard Sherman did here. He knows what I was asking. I want to know, do you think he's elite and can elevate his team the way that you're talking about Jaden Daniels? Don't say yes and then not at all answer the question saying, oh, he's executed in the playoffs. Because, Richard, you didn't think that Russell Wilson was elite. He executed to a Super Bowl and you guys went to a second Super Bowl with him. Should have won that Super Bowl if it wasn't for a boneheaded play call. You're not his biggest fan. He executed. Joe Flacco executed. Nick Foles executed. Jake Delhomme executed. A lot of quarterbacks execute in the playoffs. That doesn't mean that they are elevating or that they're elite, as you put in all capital letters. So don't play the intelligence of the people around. So that's just where I'm at with it. I do appreciate him for responding. I like Richard Sherman a lot. I just don't like when my intelligence is played with, and that's exactly what he did here. I also want to say this too. I'm sure I tweet a lot and I mute every time I tweet because I already know what the response is going to be. If you don't agree with the masses, people get personal. They say the craziest things. So I will mute most of my tweets. And I'm sure the responses here are trying to dunk all over me because Richard, and the perception is Richard said that he's elite. Even if that was the case, these ex players are not talent evaluators. They are no better at evaluating talent at a position they didn't play than you or I. Any of us can watch film, any of us can watch games and come up with this player is good or this player is not. Just because Richard Sherman says it doesn't make it so. Now, I will say this. If Richard Sherman was talking about technique at the DB position or he's breaking down defensive film, I'm going to sit here with my mouth closed and listen because he knows what he's talking about way more than I ever could. So there are areas of the game in which these players know way more than we ever could. And I understand that. I respect that. However, when it comes to talent evaluation of the quarterback position, these guys are not talent evaluators. If they were, they'd be big time executives for a team evaluating that talent and drafting these players. So I don't want to hear, oh, X player thinks so and so. No. They know no more than we do. They have biases just like we do. Nothing is different. I just don't believe that Richard Sherman answered the question directly. And frankly, I don't respect it. I do respect him, but I don't respect the fact that the question was not answered directly. I'd rather that he just simply didn't answer, to be real.